And one moment here. Sorry about this. Okay. So as we go down to the next sort of more specific standards, we're looking at competency 1 here. We have 4 standards that will stretch across K through 12 and obviously, progress through a student's academic career. Developing a plan for spending and saving, developing a system for keeping and using financial records, describing how to use different payment methods, and applying consumer skills to spending and saving decisions. And I hope you can kind of just see some of the overlap just in opportunities for speaking and listening, discussion, or constructed response when you're describing things or applying skills to spending and saving decisions. That's a lot of evaluative, comparing and contrasting. So a lot of opportunities there within ELA developmental skills. So if we get even more specific and we look at what are our actual benchmarks. So this is an example of the 3rd grade benchmarks under, spending and saving and looking at developing that plan. So these are some concrete actions that we would hope 3rd graders might be able to do after receiving financial education for a year, showing how saving money can improve well-being, or describing ways that people can decrease expenses to save more of their income. So written into these standards are inherently those English language skills, right? Describing, categorizing, giving examples, everything that can be both oral or written, developing on the level of your students. So now I have here sort of the horizontal orientation that has our K through 5 benchmarks for the same 3rd grade one we looked at. You'll see those are all right there in the middle, but this just shows all of the standards from kindergarten through 5th grade. And again, highlighting just some of those ELA opportunities in the green stars. Like in 5th grade, you're listing components of a spending plan, explaining, showing how saving money can improve financial well-being. So everything from like a little journal prompt to a discussion question. And then the blue stars are financial education and social emotional learning opportunities kind of within that ELA space. So an example would be like giving examples of alternatives to activities that charge fees. So that would be including a discussion of like needs versus wants. And some families are needs only families, and they might not have money to go do an activity. But other families might have those, a want can be an activity. So just having, holding space for all where students are upon that spectrum, and just kind of understanding both the financial part of it, but also kind of that social part of it. Really awesome area of opportunity for discussion within your classroom. And then we have over here, I really like this describing how to use different payment methods standards, because I feel like this one really shows this has financial education, tons of math, and ELA opportunities as well. So it's just sort of a snapshot of how these things can all be shuffled together within the classroom to achieve, like, extend that learning into that financial education space. Everything from sorting coins and money to explaining why people keep money in banks and credit unions. I love that. That's also some risk management too. That idea of risk management is just, is it really, what's riskier? Is it riskier to keep our money in a piggy bank or under our bed, or is it riskier to keep it in a bank? For some of our communities that are historically underbanked or unbanked, this can be a first step in really kind of developing some trust with financial institutions as well. And then the last part of standards that I'm just going to mention are these writing standards that I think you can hit pretty much anytime you're talking about financial literacy or financial education. With the K through 2 space, just with guidance and support, that recall of their own experiences to answer questions. Anytime we're talking about, this money is one thing kids can absolutely draw on their own experience from. They see it, they're exposed to it every single day. So this is one area where you can really try and help them connect to their own background knowledge and their own experiences. And then within the 3-5, well, K through 5, but specifically within the 3-5, that informative or explanatory text, right? Again, with that hook that engagement piece of money. We know that informative texts are so important for our students. Everything's kind of moving informative. Reading and writing skills. But this can be a great way to crack into those informative ones, but still, again, with that piece that they can really access and relate to. So I would just note those as the writing standards that I think can really apply through a ton of this content. All right, and we're done with standards. Yay, let's get into resources. This is the interesting part. I'm just gonna, as a caveat, recognize that I'm going to be talking through the majority of this PD here. This is very resource heavy from here on. I like to say I would like to just invite you to let this wave of information crash over you. Know that we will be emailing you this PowerPoint and then also a linked resource package with everything in here linked out in a PDF for you. So no need to try and grab at things. We'll make sure you have everything you need, and yeah, just sit back and relax and enjoy the fruits of our labor. We're going to start off with our financial education library. So this is, like I like to say, my passion project of 30 books, picture books that have personal finance and economic themes. And we're going to kind of zoom in and look at it shelf by shelf here. As you can see, it is a digital resource, but we have provided a QR code as well up in the top if it's something you wanted to print out. It's accessible for families and communities as well. As you can see, it's sort of, well, you might not be able to see. It's organized alphabetically by author. And what we have here is a very conscious effort to collect books that have a bunch that represent a bunch of different protagonists. We represent diversity in our protagonists and in our authors, touching on all kinds of those competency skills, from spending and saving to employment and income, to even credit and debt. As we go through and look at these titles, I don't know if you're familiar with any of them. They're all fantastic books. Sloth and Squirrel, on the top shelf there, Sloth and Squirrel in a Pickle is a very cute book about specialization and the economic concept of specialization. Entrepreneurship also features very heavily in a lot of these books. Sloth and Squirrel, George Washington Carver. Whoosh up there on the top shelf is Lonnie Johnson, the man who invented super soakers. We have Pancakes on that second shelf, which is great about natural resources and human resources and capital resources. Last up on Market Street on the bottom shelf is a beautiful story, a lot of social emotional components about sort of being a needs versus wants and the opportunity costs that we go through in our daily lives. The Girl Who Thought in Pictures on the bottom shelf is about one of the foremost American agricultural scientists named Temple Garden, and she's also on the autism spectrum. It's a very inspirational story. And entrepreneurship, like I said, Dirt Cheap and Lemonade in Winter are great on the concepts of entrepreneurship and jobs kids can do. Second shelf, oh my gosh, I could talk about all of these books, but I would just really want to point out Geo and Banks in the middle on the right there is actually written by an author local to Spokane. I have two other Washington authors, the books I'm in the process of reviewing now that we're hoping to add and feature at some point. What's another one? Tortilla Factory, another one that's great for natural resources. Oh, Brave Girl Clara in the top right is about human or workers' rights. Very cool, accessible story about workers' rights there. So as you can see, there's a wide range of topics. We also have, through the month, as we were developing these, created sort of celebration month flyers. So recognizing that whole library can be sort of overwhelming and you have a lot on your plate and a lot of things to do, but that we do have these celebration months that we're always looking to integrate. And I know a lot of people would agree when we say every month can be Women's History Month, every month can be Black History Month. But when you do have the time or the mandate to focus on some of these celebration months, this can be a great way to integrate them in. We're going to continue to be producing these throughout next year. So make sure you sign up for our FEPP newsletter at fepp.org to receive these right into your inbox, clickable links, and you can just go.